Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 20th of October 2022, and I'm coming towards the end of my little odyssey here in Manchester, where I'm going to get the train tomorrow morning back home. And it's raining, which I understand almost never happens in Manchester, so I must be just plain unlucky, mustn't I? Thought I'd just move back inside because it's silly making a video in the rain, but I had a really nice cycle ride back from where I was just north of Clitheroe. Came probably about 2/3 of the way back to Manchester on the bike, and then because it was raining so much I just decided to do the rest of it in the train and then make my way to where I'm spending my last night of my little mini holiday. So just going to have a night here in central Manchester, then jump on the train tomorrow back home. So that's the plan of action. I'm just going to keep this short today for reasons I'll talk about in tomorrow's video, which will probably be a bit later. Probably won't get that up until about 7 or so by the time I get back and get everything sorted. But of course, big news of the day is UK Prime Minister Truss has gone, or is going to be going very shortly. She is going to be the shortest serving Prime Minister in British history, with a grand total of 44 days, which is absolutely pathetic. I think it comes hard on the heels of yet another senior politician, the Home Secretary, going. So we had the Chancellor being sacked last week, had the Home Secretary being sacked or resigning, whatever happened. So Truss really had an untenable position. Now, of course, the likes of Starmer and Sturgeon are saying, oh yeah, we need to have a general election now. We can't just have another unelected Prime Minister foisted onto the country. Well, they would say that because, well, let's face it, Labour would probably win a general election now. But as far as I'm concerned, as much as I think the Tories are terrible and despicable, Labour would be, especially, well, Labour under Starmer would be even worse in my view. He's just another WEF kind of puppet, and he is thoroughly undeserving of being PM. And although you've got all these people saying, oh, there's probably going to be a general election, there might be a general election, there should be a general election, the fact is we don't have to have an election in this country under our system until December of 2024, because they can stay in for a maximum of 5 years, and I'm sure the Tories will kind of eke that out to the max, hoping that things will turn around in the 2+ years that we've still got to go until that time comes around. And I would hope that in the meantime the kind of Tories would come back a little bit, some other right-wing alternatives will continue to grow, like the Heritage Party, the Reform Party, maybe some left-wing sort of puppet, shall we say, non-puppet parties will come about as well. And I think if we can get that going, Labour loses out to such a party, we might end up with a hung parliament next time, with a few different parties kind of all getting a good share of the vote. And 2 years would give plenty of time for those dynamics to come in, because I honestly think the best thing that we could wish for is a hung parliament. Then that means that no one party and no one party leader would have the ridiculous amounts of power that they do. But as I say, we've got 2 years to go until that point is reached. Who is going to be the next PM? Well, I see in headlines here that it's not going to be Hunt, so he has taken his hat out of the ring apparently. So that is good news if that's true, because I certainly wouldn't want to see him as PM. And also I see that far from having the long drawn out kind of leadership contest that they had last time, where they only ended up with useless old Truss anyway, after such a ridiculously long campaign, they're going to make it very short with the new PM being announced by next week. Apparently, that's what I'm hearing. And guess who the two main contenders are? Sunak, who lost out narrowly to Truss in the last leadership contest, and who's the other one? Yeah, Johnson himself is going to be running again. I know, honestly, you couldn't make this stuff up, could you? I think, if I was a real cynic, I would sort of say that this thing could have almost been planned from the start. Well, people are starting to get a bit hacked off with Johnson. Well, let's get rid of him temporarily. Let's get someone who is even more useless than Johnson. Let them mess up big time and resign after a very short period in office, and then people will be begging to have Johnson back. And apparently he is front runner as far as the Conservative Party membership is concerned anyway. He's the most popular candidate, so because again they're going to be the ones who are deciding on who's going to be the sort of next PM. So some very sort of weird, strange goings on. Who knows where it's going to go? And honestly, I've got no opinion as to who the best person for the job's going to be. I just honestly don't think anyone is that great. And like I say, if Johnson did get back in, well, by the time he gets back in and his feet back under the table, we've only got just almost exactly 2 years before the next general election has to happen, so he can't get up to too much mischief. In the last 18 months to 2 years of a term, they tend to sort of not mess around too much, to sort of play nicely because they want to get re-elected. So his time will be relatively short, and then we have the next general election and we get a hung parliament with a bit of luck. So that's what I'd hope for. Don't know what you think about all of this mess. Leave a sort of comment in the comment section below. And another thing, I've just nearly forgot to say this, and it's actually the most important bit of political news, way more important than everything else I've talked about. A man has seen a picture of Johnson's face in his chicken korma. Would you believe? I don't know what you think, but it looks like a striking resemblance to me. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.